in the... Welcome to Raw is Jericho!
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Listen up, you blind slapnut.
If I can be serious for a minute.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody.
The real reason I came here tonight is because we are live!
We Flex are NXT.
It's go time, folks!
Sweet! A little bit of the bubbly.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
For life.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all the ages, happy day before Independence Day, the 4th of July, to everybody on out there in the wrestling world, the Flex Network world. It is your boy, the Snowman, bringing you another edition of the Pro Wrestling Weekend Review Show here on Flex Network. We are live on the Facebook, we are live on the YouTube, and we are live on the Twitter. And boy, oh boy, I know we're supposed to have a great American Bash this coming Tuesday on NXT. But man, oh man, the fireworks getting started early this week, guys. A lot of things popping off, a lot of big news, a surprise return this past Friday on SmackDown. And of course, everything in between with Raw, NXT, Dynamite, man. And of course, we're getting ready for that Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up on the 18th of this month, July. But I know that's just a small drop in the bucket, but let's get going on what has been going on in the world of wrestling today. I know we're 2 days late, but I figured, you know what? Let's see what SmackDown had to offer before we come out and talk. Add on to the show for the Wrestling Weekend Review and do an actual Weekend Review show for you guys this week. But of course, we got to go all the way back, to Raw, of course. But we're going to start off with the news, guys, because we got big news. Some big news. For those of you guys who are in the West Coast, actually more likely the Pacific Northwest, up here in Everett, or in the surrounding areas, local wrestling promotion, my buddy, the man, the myth himself, Max, is getting his promotion back up and running, guys. Without a Cause is back in action. That's right. August 29th, they are back. They are going to be killing it. They already have the rest of the dates for the rest of the year already set up. August 29th, September 22nd, Halloween. Their 3-year anniversary, their year 3 show, November 28th and December 19th to close out this reboot year, I would say, and for everyone, just a hard reset. But yes, make sure you guys go and check that out. You guys can go get your tickets at wacprowrestling.com/events. Make sure you guys go and check out the show there. Of course, their world champion, who is a part of Impact Wrestling, Chris Bay, should be on one of those shows, maybe multiple shows. I mean, he is their world champion. And of course, other big news, if you saw this past Friday, you saw what I saw, what everyone else saw, and that is the return of one Zelina Vega. Yes, she is back in WWE after 7 months from being released initially. And I'm sure everyone watching SmackDown was surprised. Everyone was shocked to see Zelina back in WWE. Now, if you don't remember, she was released basically under the pretense of with the whole pandemic, earning money off this onto the side, like with like cameos, forgot what else. OnlyFans, like to do like cosplays in that sense and earning extra money, because again, you gotta think, a lot of the travel was gone, still, almost gone, but it's coming back. So all the fees for, appearances and, merchandise and all that, just pretty much a lot of the extra money, all that money that they were normally have gotten pre-pandemic was gone. So a lot of the wrestlers had to figure out, okay, what can I do to earn some extra cash, because I'm at home. I'm going to the Thunderdome and I'm coming home. I'm going to the, Thunderdome and I'm coming home. Those kind of things. So of course, Zelina's like, okay, I have my own Twitch account. I'm getting, donations and stuff like that. I have, playing video games and talking with my fans, which is cool and awesome. One of their members, repping the merch. No cheap plug there. And of course, of course, cosplayer, it's like, what, I'm going to sell some of my own cosplay pictures to my fans and whatnot, make money off that. WWE, of course, in the transition of, okay, we're going to start bringing, doing the Twitch stuff online so we can control it. We need everyone to shut down their Twitch accounts, and we're going to migrate everyone over there. Zelina hesitant, didn't want to do it. Had a conversation and was released way back when, back in November. So 7 months ago, released. And now, shockingly and surprisingly, she is back in WWE on the SmackDown side. And we'll get into what went down on SmackDown in a little bit. But that was just a great surprise, to say the least, for me. Just sitting there thinking, okay, who are they going to get? Okay, probably Liv Morgan. And then, of course, to announce who's going to be joining the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And lo and behold, you hear Sonya Deville say, Zelina Vega. I'm like, are you for real? And lo and behold, she's back. And I mean, yes, there have been rumors that she was, actually not even rumors, but there have been sightings of her at the Performance Center. And I feel like, again, with the same kind of things with Samoa Joe that was appeared at the Performance Center, and maybe Aleister Black, hopefully, crossing my fingers, we get to see him back. And of course, we heard that Zelina was going through that, maybe that they were going to sign them back. And of course, we saw Samoa Joe re-sign. We got Zelina re-signed. And I really dig this. It adds talent to a very well depleted women's roster. Literally, comparing the Raw, and I know I've ranted and raved about this for like months on end about the women's wrestling, but I rant and rave about it because I care about it a lot. Because if you go back, and again, I keep saying this, go back to 90s and early 2000s, probably up to 2001, maybe actually a little bit into 2002, maybe before, 2002. So from 90s to 2002, the women in there were just knock down, drag out, gorgeous, but they weren't wrestling. They weren't wrestlers. They were eye candy. They were managers. They were just something for those teenagers and the adults to luster at. Now, granted, Lita and Trish Stratus, I will add into them, but they were the exception to the rule. They could wrestle and they could be not, and were and always have been knocked down, drag them out, good looking and great looking. They were great for the business. But like Terry Runnels, not so rarely on the wrestling. That's why she transitioned into backstage interviewer. Jacqueline. Actually, I'll even take that. Jacqueline, Hall of Famer, well deserved. It was a wrestler, but not in the sense of what today's wrestling would be. She would lack a little bit to a point. But again, it's work with you got. Let's see. Stacy Keibler. Great look, great look. But iffy on the wrestling. Not the best in the world, but still passable for the time. Tori Wilson. Same as Stacy. And I'm trying to think of others, at least besides Lita and Trish Stratus, because those two are the exception to the rule. Off the top of my head. Molly Holly. Actually, I'll even add Molly Holly to that degree. She actually did wrestle, was good at it, and had a very lovely run. Let's see. Who else am I, thinking in the 2000s, 90s, and 2000s? I mean, China's different, very well different. God rest her soul. Valet was, she was a valet for Triple H and Shawn for DX, and then transitioned into, to actually was a, but she could back it up. And when she did, it was something to watch. But she was more interested, with wrestling in the men's area for a while, being the first woman to ever hold the Intercontinental Championship, being in the Royal Rumble. She didn't really get into the women's title picture, the women's division area until 2000, actually late 2000 into 2001 before she left in 2001 because she was a, women's champion, former women's champion. And then once we got to 2002, you got Trish and Lita, Stacy and Tori, but that was just, on its own different. You start integrating Victoria. Okay. She legend in her own world, in her own sense, helped very well for the business. Gail Kim. Yeah. She was here for a short time early on and then left, came back, left again to go to TNA, TNA, come back, go back to Impact, and stay there the rest of her career. And legend, give her that. No arguments about that. Let's see who else. Just moving forward, but once you get through the 2000s and you get into like the 2010s, the Diva era, up until like 2016, 2017, that area where we start getting to seeing the Four Horsewomen and the wrestling picks up. NXT comes along, the current NXT version, not the mentor and training version that was first integrated. I mean, granted, we had Daniel Bryan come out of that and the Nexus and Wade Barrett, but anyhow, when we got to that version, when we had the current version where it's a developmental and people are seeing them, the talent stepped up. The women's wrestling stepped up. And of course, we're at where we're at right now in the world of women's wrestling, where the women are doing better, just as great as the men, or even better in matches. So again, I harp on it as much, I talk about it a lot on the show. I mean, but it's just one of those things where you got to go back and watch and feel like, okay, you know what? Watching, these early renditions, and I get, different time period, different style, and what was going on at that time. I get it. I'm sure a lot of you will get that too. If you go back and watch on network or on, just watching, stuff from, on Peacock. I can't say network anymore. You got to go watch the Peacock. You go back and watch on Peacock and you be like, okay, I see what he's talking about. I'm seeing what the Snowman's talking about in the contrast, in the difference between the women of then to the women of now, where they're kicking ass and could put on a better main event than the guys, could put on a better wrestling match than the guys if and when they are given the opportunity. It's been proven. But that's just, the thing I've been harping on. That's my thing. But yeah, so Zelina Vega's back, which very well adds depth. There's some more, talent to the SmackDown roster, which is very well depleted. Looking at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 women currently on the SmackDown roster. And I really think that it literally needs some beefing up down there, compared to the Raw women's roster of, Bliss. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not even so skip her because not even real talent. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11, technically 12. Because I'm not counting Eva Marie. Literally, I'm not counting Eva Marie for anything. She's not talent. It's just, I don't know how she got in there because I don't see her as a wrestler. I saw it once. It didn't go anywhere. Now she's back. I don't know why. And that's a story. That's a whole. I've already said my piece on that with Eva Marie. I'm pretty sure I'll have another one in a couple weeks or so, whatnot. But yeah, I feel like SmackDown really needs to get more women on their roster to help even it out, or at least just even it out. Because again, we got Natalya and Tamina right now, who are your women's tag team champions, and they're going to both shows. That opens up a lot of opportunity in the SmackDown women's title division, but it also hinders the tag team division, which again, get more women, you can make some tag teams out of it and give the Natalya and Tamina some competition, some reps, just something to give them something to do other than just being on Raw most of the time and facing off against Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose weeks on end, and then after that gets done, and then title rematch, and it's like, or Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I'm not harping on that part, but when there's more, it seems like there's 2 tag teams on Raw compared to the one on SmackDown, and unless Bayley and Sasha Banks get back together as a tag team, which I'm probably not going to see for a little while longer, only one tag team, Natalya and Tamina. That's it. So it's just one of those things where I don't know what, they're thinking over there. But all right, moving on to other news. Unfortunately, we do have some, there is some sad before we get to the last three little announcements, or sorry, pieces of news. Patriot passed away this past week. If you guys don't know who he is, I suggest you guys go back into 97 era of the WWE. He was not really an integral part, but more. I'll actually bring back. Yeah, unfortunately, AJ Anthony. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to call AJ. Kairi Sane is not with the company. She's back overseas with her husband back in Japan. But more on she still works for WWE, but is more of helping them in their Japan region. scouting talent and being an ambassador kind of thing. She wanted to go home and everything and be with her husband. So unfortunately, that's why we haven't seen Kairi Sane, and that's why the Kabuki Warriors aren't or we haven't seen them. So yeah, she went home. But back to the other thing, the sad things. Patriot, if you guys remember, when during the 97, when there was essentially a border war with the U.S. and Canada, with the Hart Foundation basically just shitting on everything with the U.S. Every time they went to a U.S. wrestling event, they get booed out the building. But when they go back to Canada and there's like a Raw that was going on, like a Edmonton, they'd be cheered like gods. They would be loved. And it was like the best quote from Jerry the King Lawrence, like, this really is the Twilight Zone, because we could go next door. This is real, Crazyville. Because again, you could take Raw to Pittsburgh. Hart Foundation's on the card in the main event, or they're on for to hype up a pay-per-view or their matches. Boot out the building. Chant USA. Go Edmonton or Calgary. Cheered like they were war-torn heroes just coming back from the war. Just open arms and we love you, Canada, Canada. And anytime they would play the national anthem, everyone would sing. So it was just so crazy back then. But he did have a match with Bret. The Patriot did have a match with Bret the Hitman Hart at Bad Blood. I think I want to say he won that one. I'm not 100% sure because it was 97. But if you did notice, he did use Kurt Angle's version early intro. He used the Kurt Angle's entrance theme very early on, before Kurt Angle got it, before the "You suck" came into the mantra in 2001 or 2. So, but he passed away at age 59. Rest in peace to the Patriot. 2 good pieces of news. This past Tuesday, Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are married. They are officially married. They are a family with a beautiful baby girl, and are officially married as of Tuesday. Congratulations to the newlyweds. And then, of course, Ronda Rousey and Travis Brown have announced that they are expecting a girl for their first child together. Congratulations. It seems like recently, I feel like Becky and Seth have a girl. I think, if I remember, Daniel Bryan's got another girl. I want to say Brie Bella has a girl too. Mox and Renee have a girl. I want to say that. Just seems like a lot, and I think, actually, yeah, I think Cody and Brandy also had a girl. So just a lot of girls, in the wrestling world right now that are coming out, which is crazy. But congrats to them. And then if you saw NXT, you saw that there was a match, tag team matchup with Mercedes Martinez and Jake Atlas taking on Xia Li and Boa. Match ended in a no contest, due to referee stoppage, and because of a lovely and pretty dang good spin kick from Xia Li to Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez ended up getting a concussion, knocked out cold, mouth, had some blood in their mouth, so they had to stop the match. Yeah, so she unfortunately suffered a concussion. That is the news this week. Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about with Raw, NXT, Dynamite, and SmackDown, of course. Let's get on to Monday Night Raw. For some reason, we kick off the show with Randy Orton being MIA. We don't know what happened, where he was, but unfortunately, because of his not being there, being MIA at Raw this past week, there was a battle royal to determine who would replace Orton in the triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier, the last chance qualifier matchup for Raw. And strangely enough, Randy Orton's tag team partner of RK Bro, Matt Riddle, wins and replaced Randy Orton in the qualifying match to, I would probably say, give him an opportunity to still be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, if you want to go that way. It was a nice way to kick off the Battle Royal, kick off the night with the Battle Royal. Kind of weird, that, for the rhyme or reason of Randy Orton being MIA. I haven't heard why he was MIA, probably missed traffic or something. There's traffic or something. I don't know. But Riddle moves on to the triple threat later in the night for the main event. The newly minted superhero of Nikki Cross taking on Shayna Baszler, thanks to another set of interference from Alexa Bliss. Distraction. Nikki Cross picks up the victory over Shayna Baszler. Another tag team matchup with Eva Marie and Doudrop. I can't even say it's Piper Niven. Piper Niven. I don't know why they have to change the name on that. But yes, tag team against Asuka and Naomi for the second week in a row. This time, however, Eva Marie and Doudrop pick up the victory on Asuka and Naomi. It was a not really care match. Ricochet, John Morrison had a very damn good, exciting matchup, guys. Like, literally crazy. Seeing Ricochet just literally fly outside the ring on top of John Morrison on the barricade. That was crazy as hell. Unfortunately, the match was so good it ended out in a double count out. But man, I kind of want to see Ricochet get into that main event picture scene. I don't know, and I'll get to my Money in the Bank talk later in the show. But I feel like, I won't save it for later. I'm going to save that for later. 6-woman tag, Charlotte and the women's tag team champs of Natalya and Tamina taking on Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, and the Raw Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. Good matchup. It was so-so, but it was good. Charlotte and the tag champs pick up the victory over Mandy Rose, over I would say the number one contenders for the women's tag team champs and the current Raw Women's Champ. Pick up some steam heading into Money in the Bank. In a strap match, Jackson Ryker beats Elias, and literally Jackson Ryker laid a whooping on Elias. And then the final qualifying match for Raw is for the last chance triple threat match between Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, and AJ Styles. Was as hyped up as it needed to be. It was a great matchup. Fortunately for Riddle, he doesn't get to add Randy Orton and doesn't get to add him into the Money in the Bank ladder match, as Drew McIntyre picks up the victory and moves on to Money in the Bank for the men's World Championship contract opportunity. Raw this week was pretty okay, guys. It's pretty okay. Moving on over to Tuesday, where we saw literally the last chance hype up for this coming week's Great American Bash We saw, of course, Zoe Stark and Io Shirai taking on Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart in a triple threat #1 contenders women's tag team title, NXT women's tag team title opportunity match. And the unlikely pair of Zoe Stark and Io Shirai pull out the victory. They are next in line for the women's tag team titles against The Way. That literally, it's good. I believe that's going to be a great matchup right there. Coming up at the Bash. Oh, yeah, I forgot that was empty. Roderick Strong of the Diamond Mine. First match back since leaving NXT, then making his return last week with the Diamond Mine. Looking great. Roddy looks great, guys. Taking on Asher Hale. Roddy just looks great, guys. It was awesome, great matchup for him. First match back since leaving NXT to change himself. And he easily picks out a victory out of a great matchup. Cameron Grimes defeats Ari Sterling. Cameron Grimes, it was a good match. I liked it. Of course, the no contest, the mixed tag match, and then no contest thanks to Mercedes getting knocked out by Xia Li's little spin kick to the mouth. Just good night, like a UFC knockout. Just good night. Here comes the Sandman. Just good night. Main event for NXT this past week. Isaiah Swerve Scott defending the North American title Bronson Reed defending the North American title against Isaiah Swerve Scott. This I did not expect to happen. Isaiah Swerve Scott picks up the win and is your new North American champion. I literally did not think this was going to happen. I would probably say maybe make this for the Bash or for another takeover, but I wouldn't have thought that was going to happen this week or this past week to make to have a change. I mean, unless I could see Bronson Reed getting put into that to that world title opportunity, I just didn't see it coming. But it was a great matchup. Isaiah Swerve Scott picks up the victory and is your new NXT North American champion. This coming week is the Great American Bash on Tuesday. It's one of my favorites. Of course, last year's American Bash was great. Can't be beat, but I think they're going to have a damn good try out of it this coming week. We're going to see Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly Part 2. Straight up match. The rules are in the building this time around. NXT tag team titles up for grabs. Both sets of tag team titles are up for grabs, as it will be MSK defending against Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher for the men. And on the women's side, we have The Way, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell taking on Io Shirai, the former NXT Women's Champion, and Zoe Stark. And they're going to run it back one more time, but with a little caveat. LA Knight will defend first title defense of the $1 Million Championship against Cameron Grimes. But this time, if Cameron Grimes does not win, if he loses, he will become Mr. L.A. Knight's butler. High stakes for an opportunity to become the $1 Million Champion. But that is this Tuesday at the Great American Bash on NXT TV. I'm actually going to talk about Dynamite for 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, because again, while I didn't talk about last, I was supposed to talk about it this week. We also had another show because it was AEW went back to its Wednesday show. So we got 2 sets of AEWs to talk about, guys. So let's switch on out of the Money in the Bank for a little bit and head on over to AEW Dynamite. Booyah, there we go. AEW, last Saturday, Hangman Page defeats Powerhouse Hobbs. Great matchup for Hangman Page. It was awesome. Matt Sydal defeats Deontay Martin. Okay matchup. Ethan Page defeats Bear Bronson. Chris Statlander defeats the Bunny. And for the AEW World Championship, this one was a damn good match. One of the best matches I saw last Saturday. Kenny Omega beats Jungle Boy to retain the AEW World title. Jungle Boy was so close. It was like so close. If you could see on the live stream, if you're listening on podcast, you could see that my fingers are so close. But it was an awesome matchup, guys. A very, I would say, match of the year type feel because it was so great. And then, of course, this past Wednesday is back on their regular night. As their final time in Jacksonville at Daly's Place, at least being there on a constant basis, as they will be hitting the road. And I'll be talking about where they're coming to in the next after talk about this. Eddie Kingston and Pentagon Jr. defeat the Bucks and get a future World Tag Team title opportunity. And they're the first team to beat them. They're the first team. Kingston and Pentagon are the first tag team to beat the Bucks in a very long time, guys. Very long time. Since they won the tag titles, I would say. Jungle Boy coming off his epic match of the year quality against Kenny Omega. Defeats Jack Evans, unfortunately via disqualification. TNT Championship up for grabs. Brian Pillman Jr. taking on Miro. This was another great matchup. Show-stopping number. Miro, unfortunately, retains. You thought I was going to, say he's going to lost it. But it is so close for Brian Pillman Jr., but unfortunately, he locked in the accolade. And Miro retains the TNT title. Women's tag team action. Britt Baker taking on Rebel and taking on Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. And Britt Baker, DMD, beats her future number 1 contender opponent, Nyla Rose, and Vicky Guerrero before getting put through a table from Nyla Rose. And of course, Rebel unfortunately got injured. Don't know how long how bad or how serious her knee injury is. They'll probably let us know on AEW this coming week or even on Twitter. Main event, MJF defeats Sammy Guevara in a awesome main event match. And of course, Jericho was on commentary all night. And here's the funny thing. I know I'm going to talk about it, but of course, end of the show, end of the tribute, the big thank you, the highlights from the last 15 months with AEW being at Daly's Place down there in Jacksonville, Florida. They show everything that went on from, the first from when they did the opening promo, with Cody Rhodes and, we're going to, let's light fireworks and, let's put on a show for everyone out there. And then everything that's happened at Daly's Place for the last, months on end. And of course, we end the show with, good old JR with a blunder of, thanks, of course, nothing beats a WWE Dynamite, show, it's like, I couldn't believe I heard it too, that he said, the WWE Dynamite. But don't mistake, I feel bad for JR, because for being as legendary as he is, a legendary announcer, commentator in this business, he had a mess up. He had a goof. I mean, that just means he's mortal. To me, it's like, okay, you made a goof. I mean, you worked for WWE for how many years? For so long? Hands on, off and off for some time, but you made a goof. It sucks, for someone to make that goof, but you know what? It's a goof. And there were so many people, apparently, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, they were bashing him. It's like making fun. It's like, guys, he made a mistake. Yeah, it was announced on done on world television, on world TV, but he's human. He made a goof. Oh well. Next week he'll come. He'll probably get. He'll more than likely be perfect throughout the show. Maybe he'll mess up a couple things, but he made a goof. So what? He's human. But I feel bad for his. It was kind of a funny blunder, but I was like, really? Okay, WWE Dynamite. But it was great. But it was still a great show. And of course, to see all those memories of the entire time from Daly's Place, of course, the Bro Lee tribute, when FTR debuted. Just a lot of great memories for that event, for their time there. It was awesome. We do know what is going to happen next week as AEW hits the road. And of course, they're heading right down the road to Miami for Road Rager, July 7th. We know we'll see Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall in a South Beach strap match. That's going to be a great matchup right there. I can still feel the last time Cody Rhodes had to take a strap to the back. Ow. 6-man tag, Inner Circle of Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz with K-Dog, Conan at their side, taking on the Pinnacle, Wardlow, and FTR with Tully Blanchard at their side in a 6-man tag. Andrade El Idol will take on Matt Sydal one-on-one, a mixed tag of Chris Statlander and freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, man, taking on the Bunny and the Blade. And then, of course, Jericho and MJF will have a standoff to see where we're going to go with and how Jericho can get another opportunity at MJF one-on-one. But we also know what is also coming up in the next several weeks and weeks. So Road Rager on July 7th in Miami. Friday Fest Night 1, the 14th of July at Cedar Park, Texas. Night 2 of Friday Fest, July 21st in Garland, Texas. Fight for the Fallen, July 28th in Charlotte. Woo! Actually, I have to do the original, but it's like, I have to find it now. Where is it? In Charlotte. Woo! North Carolina. And then AEW Dynamite and Rampage, August 11th and 13th from Pittsburgh, PA. That is where we know for AEW's current touring schedule. And of course, we all know that AEW All Out will be in Chi-Town in the month of September. That is AEW Dynamite for the week. SmackDown this week, inching closer, of course, trying to fill in some last gaps for Money in the Bank on the SmackDown side. Big E and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. Big E and Shinsuke picking up the victory in a tag team action, thanks to Baron Corbin being distracted, thanks to his car being towed. This is just poetic justice. I mean, for the longest time, Baron Corbin's been dishing out so much grief and punishment that now that the shoe's on the other foot, I'm not feeling bad for him. I'm liking this. Loses his crown. He's no longer king. And now he's getting his car repossessed. Or sorry, towed. I should say towed. He'll get it back, but it's like, I'm kind of liking this. It's kind of fun to watch. In a last man standing match to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And damn, did they use everything and anything that they could get their hands on? You talk about bad blood. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is the new definition of bad blood, at least in the PG era, unfortunately. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn had knocked out, Dragon Out match. Kevin Owens picks up the victory as he is the last man standing and moves on to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, July 18th. Of course, we had Liv Morgan taking on Carmella. Or sorry. Oh, I read that wrong. Sorry. Liv Morgan taking on Zelina Vega. Zelina gets, makes her return. Actually, no, I think I read that wrong. Yeah, no, Liv Morgan took on Zelina Vega one-on-one. Zelina, wins her first match back. I just had it wrong in my notes. And of course, Zelina is in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match thanks to Sonya Deville announcing it. And then Otis taking on Angelo Dawkins. And Otis this new look of Otis, I think it fits him. This new serious, mean streak Otis, I feel like this fits him to a T of, for the Academy. And he's just this monster of a man right now with the Alpha Academy. Fits him very well. Picks up the victory over Angelo Dawkins. We know Money in the Bank is on the horizon in a couple of weeks. Literally 2 weeks from tomorrow, 4th of July, Sunday, in 2 weeks, July 18th, in front of the fans again. Yes, I said they'll be in front of the fans again. This is what we do know. Ricochet, John Morrison, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Big E, Kevin Owens are in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We still have 2 spots open. Cesaro and Seth Rollins next week. Baron Corbin and King Nakamura next week on SmackDown to determine the final 2 spots for the men's side. The women's side, we got Asuka, Naomi, Bliss, Cross, Carmella, Zelina Vega, and 2 more open spots. Bobby Lashley will defend the WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston. Raw Women's titles up for grabs again. Rhea Ripley taking on Charlotte Flair in a rematch from Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns will take on Edge for the Universal title. And for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bianca Belair versus Bayley one more time. But this time it will be an I Quit match. That is going to be a great matchup, I believe. I don't know if they're going to put Bianca in the situation to quit, but maybe even so, I think Bayley is going to say I quit. I just have this feeling that Bayley's going to reach her breaking point and just say I quit during the match. I don't know, but I'll probably talk about more over the next 2 weeks. But looking over, and I said I would save this for later, and it's later now. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Morrison, Ricochet, Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Big E, Kevin Owens. Of the group right now, Drew McIntyre is the only one that technically can't cash in on the Raw side. He can, unless Kofi wins or Bobby Lashley loses the title, down the line. Drew can't, cash in for the WWE Championship as long as Bobby Lashley's champion. Ricochet, Morrison, Riddle, and Big E right now. Of those guys, none of those 1, 2, 3, 4. Of those 4, none of those guys have ever won a world title. Scratch that. Morrison is a former ECW World Heavyweight Champion or ECW World Champion, the rebranded version. But it still technically counts as a world champion. So Ricochet, Riddle, Big E, those guys have not been world champions. I would not be surprised if Ricochet wins, because I think maybe that would be a smart decision to give him an opportunity at a title run. Big E, I think, of course, he's past due, because for the amount of stuff he has provided, content over the years, for the moments he's created, of course, with the New Day, multiple time World Tag Team Champions, record breaking Tag Team Champion reigns, Intercontinental US Champ, NXT Champion. I think it's time for him to get his due and get a world title run. If it's Universal or if it's WWE title. Riddle, I don't know on that one. I mean, I think maybe give him an opportunity. I mean, yeah, he was US champ, but I don't think he's in that realm yet. Just not yet. Maybe give him some tag team run with Randy Orton. Couple runs maybe, but I don't think Riddle's there yet. Which leaves Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens. Former world champs. Kevin Owens, I think, again, while the Universal Champ, having run-ins with Roman Reigns, I don't think if he wins, he'd stick on SmackDown, probably head over to Raw. But even so, I mean, he probably would have a full year to cash in the bank. And Drew McIntyre, of course, the only real shot he would have is if Bobby Lashley loses. If he wants the WWE title again, he have to wait till Lashley loses the title, and then probably cash in on that weak individual who beat Bobby Lashley and get the title back, or ship on over to SmackDown, challenge Roman or whoever the champ is, and if it's Roman, I could very well see him getting back from Survivor Series. The whole comment of, well, I'm the champion, you're just the B side champion. I mean, you're a good champion, but you're not the champion. And of course, Roman proved it at Survivor Series this past November. But a lot of things to unpack before, as we're getting closer to Money in the Bank. And of course, with the fans back in the stands, that is going to be awesome. And then the WWE hitting the road again should be awesome. But that is going to be it for me this week. Man, we have a lot of stuff to unpack here, guys. I know I got a lot of, let's head on back over here. Let's get back into that. I know I got a lot of stuff I got to cover before we go. So let me get everything ready before. Peace out. All right, guys, I got house cleaning to do. So let's get into it. You guys should be following us on all of our social media accounts. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on that YouTube. You should be following us on Facebook. Just search Flex Network. You should be following us on Twitter. You should be following us at the Flex Network one for your football, fans football content. Football season's coming up, guys. We're getting into it more as we're getting inching closer to preseason, and preseason camps getting underway. We'll be dropping that knowledge for you guys to who you guys should be picking up at your fantasy football teams. And of course, we're also getting closer to, of course, with the season starting, talk about that football talk every week for you guys. Of course, with my buddy, Flex Mike. Can't wait for it. Need to get some payback for last season's debacle over the season, but I did win a Super Bowl pick, so all right. You should be following us you should be following us also for your MMA content. You should be following you should be following MMA Evergreen at MMA Evergreen for your MMA and UFC content. And of course, you should be always following us for your wrestling content. You can find us at the Flex Network FlexNet _ PW Elite on that Twitter. And then, of course, our YouTube pages. Search Flex Network for your football and fantasy football and MMA and wrestling or MMA content. And of course, Flex Network Wrestling for your wrestling content. And of course, we are on that podcast service, so we are everywhere. You guys should be getting your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, wherever. But if we're not somewhere where you listen to podcasts, let us know. We'll get on it. We'll flex on them. But that is going to be it for me, guys. What a week. Hope you guys have a safe and enjoyable 4th of July. And of course, happy Canada Day to our buddies up north a couple days ago. We should have said that at the beginning. But have a happy 4th of July, guys. Stay safe. If you're drinking, don't drive. Be over 21. Light fireworks safely. Don't be morons. And end up in the emergency room. If you're somewhere where you can't light off fireworks, don't do it. Especially in a dry area, because wildfires are rampant now, guys. So be safe. Enjoy the 4th of July. Have a hot dog, have a burger, have a beer, and enjoy the 4th of July, guys. I will see you guys next week and talk more wrestling with you guys on the road to Money in the Bank and on the road to normalcy / back on the road for the wrestling world. I will see you guys next week. This has been the Snowman, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
This has been the Pro Wrestling Week in Review show.
We got some fellow Canadians.
But when you're from Calgary,
Where's that?
Alberta, Canada,
A one-way first-class ticket to Larryland.
What is it with you folks coming to Florida? Stay in your own country. This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody. Right here.
Why me? Why me? Why me?
don't blame Canada, blame yourself.
Feels like showtime every minute to me. I can't help it.
No. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Ta-ta for now.
We're out of time. Good night on Nitro.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Well, you're welcome, Jurassic Slap Ass.